Welcome to a journey through the most peculiar, surprising, and wonderfully absurd facts that happen to be completely true. As you settle into comfort and allow your mind to drift, let these strange truths wash over you like gentle waves of curiosity. There's no need to remember everything. Just let the oddities of our universe lull you into peaceful rest. Did you know that a single cloud can weigh more than 1,000,000 pounds? That's right. Despite floating effortlessly through the sky, the average cumulus cloud weighs about as much as 100 elephants. The water droplets are so tiny and spread out over such a large area that they seem weightless, but gather them all together, and you'd need an enormous scale. It's one of nature's most beautiful optical illusions, these massive collections of water vapor drifting by while we assume they're light as air. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. According to botanical definitions, a berry must develop from a flower with one ovary and contain seeds on the inside. Bananas fit this description perfectly, as do grapes, eggplants, and even pumpkins. Strawberries, on the other hand, develop from a flower with multiple ovaries, and their seeds are on the outside, making them aggregate accessory fruits. So the next time you're eating a banana, you can rest assured you're enjoying a true berry, while that strawberry is an imposter in the berry world. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. The Shannon number, named after mathematician Claude Shannon, estimates that there are around 10 to the power of 120 possible chess games. Meanwhile, scientists estimate there are only about 10 to the power of 80 atoms in the observable universe. This means that chess, a game invented thousands of years ago with just 64 squares and 32 pieces, contains more possibility than the entire cosmos we can observe. Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. Honey's unique chemical composition, including its low moisture content and acidic pH, creates an environment where bacteria and microorganisms simply cannot survive. The bees that make it are essentially creating an eternal food source, a sweet gift that transcends time itself. The shortest war in history lasted only 38 to 45 minutes. It was between Britain and Zanzibar on August 27, 1896. Zanzibar surrendered after less than an hour of bombardment, making it the quickest conflict resolution in recorded military history. Sometimes even wars can't be bothered to take up too much time. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Venus takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation on its axis, but only about 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun. This means that if you were standing on Venus, you'd celebrate a birthday before you'd see the sun set and rise again. Time moves differently when you're the second planet from our star. Octopuses have 3 hearts in blue blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of the body. Their blood is blue because it contains copper-based hemocyanin, instead of iron-based hemoglobin like ours. When an octopus swims, the heart that delivers blood to the body actually stops beating, which is why these creatures prefer to crawl rather than swim, as it's less tiring for them. The unicorn is Scotland's national animal. This mythical creature has been a Scottish symbol since the 12th century, representing purity, innocence, and power. Scotland chose a creature that doesn't exist to represent their nation, which is somehow both whimsical and deeply meaningful. The unicorn appears on the royal coat of arms of the United Kingdom, usually depicted in chains, symbolizing the power of Scottish kings who were strong enough to tame such a wild beast. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. These Australian marsupials produce distinctive cubic feces, which they use to mark their territory. The cubes don't roll away, making them excellent territorial markers. Scientists discovered that wombats achieve this geometric feat through the unique elasticity of their intestines, which form the poop into cubes during the final stages of digestion. Nature is weird and wonderful in equal measure. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches. Astronomers estimate there are about 70 billion trillion stars in the observable universe. Even if you counted every single grain of sand on every beach and desert on Earth, you'd still fall short of the number of stars twinkling in the cosmic darkness. We live in a universe of unfathomable abundance. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. This perfectly named collective noun captures the vibrant, showy nature of these pink birds when they gather together. Other delightful group names include a murder of crows, a parliament of owls, and an unkindness of ravens. Whoever named these groups clearly had a sense of humor and poetry. Cleopatra lived closer in time to the moon landing than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The pyramids were built around 2560 BCE. Cleopatra lived around 30 BCE, and humans landed on the moon in 1969 CE. This means about 2,500 years separated Cleopatra from the pyramids, but only about 2,000 years separated her from Neil Armstrong's first steps on lunar soil. Ancient Egypt was ancient even to ancient Egyptians. The dot over the lowercase letters I and J is called a tittle. This tiny mark has its own name, despite being one of the smallest elements of written language. Without tittles, reading would be much more difficult, as we'd struggle to distinguish between letters. These microscopic dots carry significant weight in the world of typography. There's enough DNA in your body to stretch from the sun to Pluto and back 17 times. If you unraveled all the DNA from all your cells and laid it end to end, it would stretch about 67 billion miles. Pluto is roughly 3.7 billion miles from the sun at its farthest point, so your DNA could make that journey many times over. You're carrying cosmic distances inside your cells right now. A single sneeze travels at about 100 miles per hour. When you sneeze, you're creating a miniature hurricane that expels thousands of droplets into the air at highway speeds. It's one of the fastest involuntary actions your body can perform, an explosive release that your body uses to clear irritants from your nasal passages. Butterflies taste with their feet. They have chemoreceptors on their legs that allow them to taste the plants they land on, helping them determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs. When a butterfly lands on a flower, it's simultaneously standing on and tasting its lunch, experiencing the world in ways we can barely imagine. The average person walks the equivalent of 3 times around the world in their lifetime. If you live to be 80 years old and maintain a moderate activity level, you'll walk about 75,000 miles. The Earth's circumference is about 25,000 miles, so you'll essentially circle the globe 3 times just by living your daily life. Every step is a small journey in a much larger adventure. There are more possible ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are atoms on Earth. The number of possible arrangements is approximately 8 times 10 to the 67th power. This means that every time you shuffle a deck of cards, you're almost certainly creating an arrangement that has never existed before and will never exist again. You're witnessing pure, unique randomness. A blue whale's heart is the size of a small car and weighs about 400 pounds. Its heartbeat can be detected from 2 miles away, a slow, powerful rhythm of about 8 to 10 beats per minute when diving. The aorta is large enough for a small child to crawl through. These magnificent creatures are living demonstrations of nature's ability to create on the grandest scale. There's a species of jellyfish that's biologically immortal. The Turritopsis doanea can revert back to its juvenile polyp stage after reaching maturity, essentially resetting its life cycle. In theory, this jellyfish could live forever if not killed by disease or predators. It's nature's answer to the fountain of youth, floating through our oceans right now. The word set has more definitions than any other word in the English language. The Oxford English Dictionary lists about 430 different meanings for this three-letter word. You can set a table, set a record, set concrete, set a course, set the sun, and hundreds of other actions, each with its own subtle meaning. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total oxygen and calories, despite being only 2% of your body weight. This hungry organ requires constant fuel to maintain consciousness, process information, and keep your body functioning. Every thought you think consumes energy, making mental work as demanding as physical labor in its own way. The fear of long words is called hippopotamonstroSquipedaliophobia. This ironic term for the fear of lengthy words is itself one of the longest words in the dictionary, creating a paradox for anyone who actually suffers from this condition. It's linguistic humor at its finest, a word that embodies the very thing it describes. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. These large, flightless birds have eyes that are about 2 inches in diameter, while their brains are smaller than their eyeballs. This doesn't mean ostriches are unintelligent, just that they've evolved to prioritize vision over brain size, helping them spot predators across the African savanna. The inventor of the Pringles can is buried in one. Frederick Bohr was so proud of his iconic cylindrical creation that he requested his ashes be buried in a Pringles can. His children honored this wish in 2008, stopping at Walgreens to buy a can before the funeral. Part of his remains now rest in the same container that held so many chips. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Scientists estimate there are about 3 trillion trees on our planet, while the Milky Way contains approximately 100 to 400 billion stars. Our home is more forested than our galaxy is starred, a comforting reminder that life is abundant here. A group of pugs is called a grumble. This adorable collective noun perfectly captures the snorting, wheezing sounds these small dogs make as they move around together. The English language is full of these delightful surprises, words that bring smiles along with meaning. The strongest muscle in your body relative to its size is your tongue. This versatile organ can exert a surprising amount of force and moves with incredible precision, allowing you to speak, eat, and taste. It's constantly working, even when you sleep, keeping your airway clear and swallowing saliva. A shrimp's heart is located in its head. Along with most of its vital organs, the heart sits in the shrimp's cephalothorax, the fused head and thorax region. So when you eat shrimp, you're consuming an animal whose brain and heart share a neighborhood, unlike most creatures where these organs are far apart. The longest hiccuping fit lasted 68 years. Charles Osborne started hiccuping in 1922 and didn't stop until 1990, hiccuping an estimated 430 million times over his lifetime. Despite this constant interruption, he lived to be 97 years old, married twice, and had 8 children, proving that the human spirit can adapt to almost anything. Polar bears are left-handed, or more accurately left-pawed. Scientists have observed that polar bears predominantly use their left paw for tasks requiring dexterity, showing a clear preference similar to handedness in humans. This is just one of many fascinating traits of these magnificent Arctic predators. A single teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh about 6 billion tons on Earth. Neutron stars are so incredibly dense that their gravity would instantly flatten anything we tried to use to hold this material. They're the remnants of massive stars that exploded, compressed down to spheres about 12 miles across, but containing more mass than our sun. The probability of you being born was about 1 in 400 trillion. When you consider all the ancestors who had to meet, all the genetic combinations possible, and all the circumstances that had to align perfectly, your existence is essentially a miracle. You're here against astronomical odds, a unique arrangement of atoms that has never existed before and never will again. A day on Earth used to be only about 4 hours long when our planet first formed. The Moon's gravitational pull has been gradually slowing Earth's rotation, lengthening our days over billions of years. In another few billion years, if Earth still exists, a day might last several hundred hours. Time itself is not constant but slowly stretching. Cows have best friends and get stressed when separated from them. Studies have shown that cows form strong bonds with particular individuals in their herd and show signs of distress when their preferred companions are taken away. They have complex emotional lives that include friendship, loyalty, and affection. The human body contains enough carbon to fill about 9,000 pencils, enough fat to make 7 bars of soap, enough iron to make a 3-inch nail, and enough phosphorus to make 2,200 match heads. We're walking chemistry sets, mobile collections of elements that somehow became conscious and started wondering about ourselves. A bolt of lightning is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Lightning can reach temperatures of about 54,000 degrees Fahrenheit, while the sun's surface is a relatively cool 10,000 degrees. For a fraction of a second, Earth produces something hotter than the nearest star. The hashtag symbol is also called an octothorpe. This alternative name for the pound sign or hash has uncertain origins, possibly coined by Bell Labs engineers in the 1960s. It's one of those wonderfully obscure technical terms that reminds us how much specialized vocabulary exists in the world. Your skeleton is wet right now. We tend to think of skeletons as dry, dead things, but living bones are about 30 to 40% water by weight. They're dynamic, living tissues constantly breaking down and rebuilding themselves, repositories of minerals and blood cell production. A group of crows is called a murder, but a group of ravens is called an unkindness or conspiracy. Both birds are intelligent corvids, yet their collective nouns suggest very different characters. These names emerged from medieval poetry and folklore, when people attributed human traits and motives to animal groups. The chances of you drinking a glass of water that contains a molecule that also passed through a dinosaur are almost 100%. Water is constantly recycled through the water cycle, and given how long water has been on Earth and how thoroughly it's been mixed, every glass you drink likely contains water molecules that ancient creatures once consumed. Sharks have been around longer than trees. Sharks appeared about 450 million years ago, while trees didn't evolve until about 360 million years ago. This means sharks were already well-established ocean predators before forests existed on land. The sentence, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," uses every letter of the alphabet. This pangram is commonly used for testing keyboards, fonts, and typing skills. It's efficient communication distilled into a simple image of a fox and a dog. Your body has enough iron in it to forge a small nail about 3 inches long. Most of this iron is in your blood, helping transport oxygen throughout your body. You're literally made of the same stuff as tools and weapons, elements forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. A jiffy is an actual unit of time equal to 1/100th of a second. When someone says they'll be back in a jiffy, they're technically promising to return in about 10 milliseconds, though most people take significantly longer. Physics has stolen the colloquial and made it precise. The world's oldest known living tree is over 5,000 years old. A Great Basin bristlecone pine in California, nicknamed Methuselah, has been growing since before the Egyptian pyramids were built. Somewhere on a mountain, A tree has been quietly living through all of recorded human history. Almonds are members of the peach family. Both come from the genus Prunus, and if you crack open a peach pit, you'll find a kernel that looks remarkably similar to an almond. They're botanical cousins, related through evolution and genetics, despite their very different commercial uses. Every 2 minutes, we take more photographs than all of humanity did in the entire 19th century. In our digital age, billions of images are captured daily on smartphones, cameras, and other devices. We're documenting our lives and world at a pace unprecedented in human history. The word nerd was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his 1950 book, If I Ran the Zoo. In the book, a nerd was simply one of many imaginary creatures. Somehow this made-up word for a fictional animal became slang for intellectually obsessed people, showing how language evolves in unexpected ways. Your brain is constantly eating itself. This process, called phagocytosis, is actually healthy and necessary. Brain cells consume and recycle their worn-out parts, a form of cellular housekeeping that keeps your neurons functioning properly. It's creative destruction at the microscopic level. A single strand of spaghetti is called a spaghetto. This singular form of spaghetti follows Italian grammar rules, where many food terms ending in I become singular with an O. So technically, you cook spaghetti but eat individual spaghettos, though no one actually uses this term in practice. The voices of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse got married in real life. Wayne Allwine and Russi Taylor, who voiced these iconic characters, married in 1991 and stayed together until Allwine's death in 2009. The Disney couple found love through the same characters who introduced generations of children to romance. Dolphins have names for each other. They use unique whistles to identify and call specific individuals, and dolphins respond when they hear their signature whistle. They have language, identity, and social recognition, living in complex societies beneath the waves. The smell of freshly cut grass is actually a plant distress signal. When grass is damaged, it releases chemical compounds called green leaf volatiles as a defense mechanism. What we perceive as a pleasant summer smell is actually grass screaming for help and warning neighboring plants of danger. There's a basketball court on the top floor of the U.S. Supreme Court building. It's known as the highest court in the land, a playful reference to both its physical location and the Supreme Court's position in the judicial system. Even serious institutions need somewhere to unwind. The average person spends 6 months of their lifetime waiting for red lights to turn green. If you drive regularly, you'll spend countless hours in accumulation sitting at intersections, watching lights change. It's time suspended between destinations, moments of mandatory patience. A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. Unlike many reptiles, crocodiles have tongues that are attached to the roofs of their mouths by a membrane. This prevents them from moving their tongues freely, but doesn't hinder their ability to catch and eat prey. The at symbol is called an arroba in Spanish, a chiocciola or snail in Italian, and an apostart or monkey's tail in Dutch. This ubiquitous email symbol has dozens of different names around the world, each reflecting cultural associations and visual interpretations. Your nose can remember 50,000 different scents. The olfactory system has a remarkable memory for smells, often triggering vivid memories associated with particular odors. A single scent can transport you back to childhood, to a specific place, or to a moment you thought you'd forgotten. The plastic tips on shoelaces are called aglets. These small, often overlooked pieces serve the crucial function of preventing laces from fraying and making them easier to thread through eyelets. They're small heroes of functional design. A sneeze can travel up to 30 feet before the droplets settle. This is why covering your mouth and nose when you sneeze is so important for preventing disease transmission. You're essentially creating a biological spray that fills a significant space around you. The Spanish national anthem has no words. The Marcha Real is one of only 4 national anthems in the world with no official lyrics. It's been the Spanish anthem since 1770, proving that sometimes music speaks more powerfully than words. Honey is the only food that includes all the substances necessary to sustain life. It contains water, enzymes, minerals, vitamins, and amino acids. In theory, you could survive on honey alone, though nutritionists certainly wouldn't recommend it. Bees create liquid nutrition. The human eye blinks an average of 17 times per minute, or about 15,000 times per day. Each blink spreads tears across your eyes, cleaning and moisturizing them. Over a lifetime, you'll spend about 1 year with your eyes closed just from blinking. A pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes. This remarkable duration is one of nature's most generous gifts to these intelligent animals. While humans experience pleasure in seconds or minutes, pigs enjoy significantly extended satisfaction. The tongue is the only muscle in your body that is attached at only one end. This unique anatomy gives it the flexibility needed for speech, eating, and countless other functions. It's simultaneously one of the strongest and most versatile muscles you have. Peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. They grow underground in pods like peas and beans, not on trees like true nuts. This makes peanut allergies fundamentally different from tree nut allergies, even though we group them together in common language. A company in Taiwan makes dinnerware out of wheat, so you can eat your plate after your meal. These edible dishes are fully digestible and come in flavors like sesame and pumpkin. When the meal is done, the dishes become dessert, eliminating waste entirely. The human brain is about 75% water. This high water content is crucial for brain function, which is why dehydration can so quickly lead to cognitive impairment. You're essentially thinking with organized water. There are more Lego minifigures than there are people on Earth. With over 4 billion minifigures produced since 1978, these tiny plastic people significantly outnumber humanity. We've created a synthetic population that exceeds our own. The first person convicted of speeding was going 8 miles per hour. In 1896, Walter Arnold was fined for exceeding the speed limit of 2 miles per hour in a 2-horsepower vehicle. Our grandparents' would be astonished by the speeds we consider normal today. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away. This powerful vocalization serves to establish territory and communicate with pride members across vast distances. It's nature's loudspeaker, sound as a declaration of presence and power. The average person produces enough saliva in their lifetime to fill 2 swimming pools. Your salivary glands work constantly, producing between 2 to 4 pints of saliva per day. This fluid is essential for digestion, protecting teeth, and enabling speech. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins. Sloths can slow their heart rate and hold their breath for up to 40 minutes underwater, while dolphins typically surface every 7 to 10 minutes. The slowest mammal on land is surprisingly accomplished in water. The little plastic table in the middle of a pizza box is called a pizza saver or box tent. This simple invention prevents the top of the box from sagging onto the cheese, preserving your pizza's integrity. It was patented in 1985 and revolutionized pizza delivery. The majority of your brain is fat. About 60% of the brain's dry weight consists of fat, making it the fattiest organ in your body. These lipids are crucial for cell membrane structure and neural signaling. You're thinking with fat right now. A bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. Of course, you can't actually harvest this energy effectively with current technology, but the theoretical power is immense. Each strike packs about 1 billion joules of energy. The probability of a specific arrangement of particles forming a human body by chance is so astronomically small that if you wrote it out, the number of zeros would fill the entire universe with tiny writing. Yet here you are, existing despite impossible odds. Banging your head against a wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is not a recommended weight loss strategy, but it demonstrates how much energy physical activity consumes, even painful and counterproductive activity. The moon is moving away from Earth at a rate of about 1.5 inches per year. Over billions of years, it will continue drifting farther away, eventually appearing much smaller in our sky and no longer perfectly covering the sun during total solar eclipses. A group of ferrets is called a business. Watching ferrets interact, this name makes perfect sense as they scurry about with apparent purpose and organization, like tiny furry executives conducting important affairs. Your fingernails grow 4 times faster than your toenails. On average, fingernails grow about 1/10 of an inch per month, while toenails grow only about 1/40 of an inch monthly. The difference relates to blood circulation, with your hands receiving better blood flow than your feet. The human heart beats about 100,000 times per day, pumping roughly 2,000 gallons of blood through your body. In a 70-year lifetime, that's more than 2.5 billion beats, a tireless rhythm that sustains your existence. Koala fingerprints are virtually indistinguishable from human fingerprints, even under a microscope. These Australian marsupials evolved similar ridge patterns independently, despite being completely unrelated to primates. It's convergent evolution creating nearly identical solutions to gripping tree branches. The word lethologica describes the state of not being able to remember the word you want. There's a word for forgetting words, which is itself often forgotten, creating an ironic loop of linguistic amnesia. You can't hum while holding your nose closed. Try it right now if you'd like. Humming requires air to pass through your nasal cavity, so blocking your nose makes it impossible. It's a simple demonstration of how interconnected your respiratory system really is. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn, the national sport is golf, and the national dish is haggis, a sheep's stomach stuffed with meat and oatmeal. This combination of mythical, recreational, and culinary choices perfectly captures Scotland's unique character. Apples float in water because they're 25% air. This buoyancy is why bobbing for apples works as a game. It's also why apples are part of the rose family, along with pears, plums, and cherries, all fruits with similar cellular structures. The world's largest desert is Antarctica. Despite being covered in ice, it receives so little precipitation that it qualifies as a desert, receiving less than 2 inches of rainfall annually in its interior. Deserts are defined by lack of moisture, not by heat or sand. The plural of octopus is technically octopuses, not octopi. The word comes from Greek, not Latin, so the Latin plural rule doesn't apply. Octopods would be the Greek plural, though almost no one uses it. Language is messy and constantly evolving. Your heart creates enough pressure when it pumps to squirt blood 30 feet across a room. Thankfully, your blood vessels contain this pressure and direct the flow appropriately. But the force involved in circulation is genuinely impressive. The inventor of the frisbee was turned into a frisbee when he died. Walter Frederick Morrison, who invented the flying disc, had his ashes incorporated into plastic discs and given to family and friends. He became his own creation, achieving a unique form of immortality. Horses and cows can sleep standing up, but they can only dream while lying down. REM sleep, when dreaming occurs, requires muscle relaxation that's incompatible with standing. So these animals experience 2 different qualities of rest depending on their position. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. Alfred Southwick witnessed an intoxicated man touch an electrical generator and die instantly, inspiring him to develop what he thought would be a more humane execution method than hanging. Prior medical knowledge took a dark turn. A small percentage of the static you see on old TV sets when not tuned to a station is actually radiation left over from the Big Bang. You can observe the echo of creation on your television, cosmic microwave background radiation from the birth of the universe. The shortest complete sentence in the English language is I am. 2 words, both essential, comprising a full thought with subject and predicate. It's also philosophically profound, the fundamental statement of existence. Dolphins sleep with one half of their brain at a time. This allows them to maintain some level of consciousness for breathing and watching for predators, while still getting the rest they need. They're literally half asleep and half awake simultaneously. The average person falls asleep in 7 minutes. If you're still awake, don't worry, that's just an average. Some people fall asleep in seconds, others take much longer. Your brain is deciding when it's ready to shut down conscious thought and drift into dreams. An average yawn lasts about 6 seconds. During this time, you're taking in 15% more oxygen than during normal breathing, potentially helping wake up your brain or prepare it for sleep. Scientists still debate why we yawn, but everyone does it. Every human being spent about half an hour as a single cell. That's how long it took after conception before your single fertilized cell began dividing. You started as something microscopic and invisible to the naked eye, and look at you now. The chances of shuffling a deck of cards into perfect sequential order are about 1 in 8 times 10 to the 67th power. You could shuffle cards for billions of years and never achieve perfect order by chance. Randomness is far more likely than organization. Elephants can't jump. They're the only mammal that cannot get all 4 feet off the ground simultaneously. Their massive weight and bone structure simply don't allow for it. They're grounded giants, powerful but earthbound. The Twitter bird's official name is Larry, named after basketball player Larry Bird. This tiny piece of trivia about a social media giant reminds us that even major corporations have quirky origin stories and inside jokes. The longest wedding veil was longer than 63 football fields laid end to end. It measured 22,843 feet and required several people to carry. Someone decided that love required a truly excessive amount of fabric to properly celebrate. More people are killed each year by vending machines than by sharks. About 2 people per year die in vending machine-related accidents, while sharks kill less than 1 person per year on average. Our fears are often misaligned with actual dangers. The population of Ireland is still smaller than it was before the potato famine of 1845. Before the famine, Ireland had a population of over 8 million people. Today, the entire island has only about 6.8 million inhabitants. A tragedy from over 170 years ago still echoes in the demographics of a nation. Cats can't taste sweetness. They lack the taste receptors for detecting sweet flavors, which is why they have no interest in sugary foods. This evolutionary trait makes sense for obligate carnivores who get all their nutrition from meat. They're missing out on desserts but don't even know it. The International Space Station travels at 17,500 miles per hour. At this speed, astronauts aboard the ISS see a sunrise or sunset every 45 minutes as they orbit Earth. They experience 16 days and nights in every 24-hour period, a dizzying schedule that the human body must adapt to. A mantis shrimp can punch with the force of a .22 caliber bullet. These colorful marine creatures have specialized appendages that strike so fast they create cavitation bubbles and brief flashes of light. They're basically underwater superheroes with weaponized fists. The human nose can detect about 1 trillion different smells. Recent research has revised dramatically upward our previous estimates of olfactory ability. Your nose is far more sophisticated than scientists once believed, capable of discriminating between vast libraries of scents. Scotland has 421 words for snow. From sneasel, meaning to start raining or snowing, to skelf, meaning a large snowflake, the Scots have developed an elaborate vocabulary for winter precipitation. When you live with something every year, you develop precise language to describe its variations. The blob of toothpaste on your toothbrush has a name. It's called a nurdle. This seemingly random term actually comes from nurdle makers, who needed a word for the proper amount of toothpaste to use. You've been creating nurdles your entire life without knowing it. A single bolt of bamboo can grow up to 35 inches in a single day. This makes bamboo the fastest growing plant on Earth. You could literally sit and watch it grow, seeing visible progress hour by hour. It's plant life in fast forward. The surface area of Russia is larger than Pluto's surface area. Russia covers about 6.6 million square miles, while Pluto has a surface area of about 6.4 million square miles. A country on Earth is bigger than a dwarf planet at the edge of our solar system. Aardvarks are the first word in the English dictionary. This nocturnal African mammal claims alphabetical priority with its double vowel opening. It's the gatekeeper of the dictionary, the first definition anyone encounters when opening to page 1. The opposite sides of a standard die always add up to 7. Look at any cube die and you'll find that 1 and 6 are opposite, as are 2 and 5, and 3 and 4. This standardization helps ensure fairness in games of chance worldwide. Armadillos always give birth to identical quadruplets. These armored mammals have a unique reproductive system where a single fertilized egg always splits into 4 identical embryos. Every armadillo litter is a set of clones. A cockroach can live for several weeks without its head. These resilient insects breathe through small holes in their body segments, and their brains don't control this function. They eventually die from starvation, not decapitation. Nature created the ultimate survivor. The human body glows in the dark. We emit visible light in tiny amounts, about 1,000 times less intense than what our eyes can detect. We're all bioluminescent, just not bright enough to notice without special equipment. The cigarette lighter was invented before matches. In 1823, the first lighter was created, while friction matches weren't invented until 1826. Humanity figured out how to create continuous flame before we mastered the quick strike. A single strand of human hair can support about 3.5 ounces of weight. A whole head of hair could theoretically support about 12 tons, the weight of 2 adult elephants. Your hair is much stronger than it appears. The world's quietest room is so silent that people hallucinate after staying in it for too long. Microsoft's anechoic chamber absorbs 99.99% of sound. In complete silence, you can hear your own heartbeat, stomach gurgling, and even the sound of your own bones moving. Most people can't tolerate more than 45 minutes. Beaver teeth never stop growing. To keep them at a manageable length, beavers must constantly gnaw on wood and other materials. Their teeth actually grow about 4 feet per year, worn down by continuous use. They're self-sharpening orange chisels. The letter J is the only letter that doesn't appear in the periodic table. Every other letter shows up in at least one element symbol, but J is completely absent from chemistry. It's the periodic table's odd letter out. Your brain is more active at night than during the day. While you sleep, your brain is busy consolidating memories, cleaning out toxins, and processing the day's experiences. Sleep is anything but restful for your neurons. Astronauts grow up to 3% taller in space. Without gravity compressing their spines, they stretch out. Unfortunately, they shrink back to normal height within months of returning to Earth. Space offers temporary height gain. The word dinosaur wasn't coined until 1842. Before that, people had no collective name for these ancient creatures. Richard Owen combined Greek words for terrible and lizard to create a term that would capture imaginations for generations. You can't breathe and swallow at the same time. Your epiglottis closes off your windpipe when you swallow to prevent choking. These two essential functions require taking turns. The longest place name in the world is 85 letters long. Tomatohakatingihingakoiwa ame achuripukakpikamonga hornukupakuanwakatanatahu is a hill in New Zealand. It's a Maori name that roughly translates to the summit where Tamadia, the man with the big knees, the slider, climber of mountains, the land swallower who traveled about, played his nose flute to his loved one. Sea otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift apart. These adorable marine mammals form rafts of up to 100 individuals, linking paws to stay together. They've turned floating into a group activity. The average person laughs about 15 times per day. Each laugh triggers a cascade of beneficial chemicals in your brain, reducing stress and boosting mood. Laughter truly is medicine, prescribed by evolution. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. In fact, a blue whale's heart is the size of a small car, and you could swim through its major arteries. These creatures exist on a scale that challenges comprehension. The original name for butterfly was flutterby. The words were apparently transposed over time, and the reversed version stuck. We could have been calling them flutterbies this whole time. Your stomach gets a new lining every 3 to 4 days. The harsh acids used for digestion would eat through your stomach wall if it weren't constantly regenerating. Your body is in constant renewal mode. The average cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds. That's the weight of about 100 elephants floating above your head, supported by air currents and thermal dynamics. Physics makes the impossible routine. Alaska is simultaneously the most northern, western, and eastern state in the U.S. The Aleutian Islands cross the 180th meridian, technically placing them in the eastern hemisphere. Geography creates paradoxes. The indentation at the bottom of a wine bottle is called a punt. It adds structural strength and makes the bottle easier to hold when pouring. This concave feature is both functional and traditional. Honey never goes bad because it has an extremely low moisture content and high acidity that creates a hostile environment for bacteria and microorganisms. Bees are master preservationists. A group of crows is called a murder, while a group of ravens is an unkindness or conspiracy. Both are corvids, among the most intelligent birds, yet their collective nouns suggest criminal intent and malice. Medieval poetry left us with wonderfully dark terminology. The human eye can distinguish about 10 million different colors. Your eyes and brain work together to process wavelengths of light and create the rich visual experience you navigate through daily. You're seeing in ultra-high definition. Cashews grow on the outside of a cashew apple. The nut hangs from the bottom of the fruit in a kidney-shaped shell that contains toxic oils. Every cashew must be carefully processed to remove these toxins before it's safe to eat. The smell of rain has a name, petrichor. It's caused by oils from plants secreted during dry periods, combined with a chemical released by bacteria, and ozone created by lightning. That fresh rain smell is actually a complex chemical cocktail. A day on Mercury lasts longer than a year on Mercury. The planet takes about 59 Earth days to rotate once, but only 88 Earth days to complete an orbit around the Sun. Time works differently on the closest planet to our star. The shortest commercial flight in the world lasts about 57 seconds. It travels between two islands in Scotland, Westray and Papa Westray, covering a distance of 1.7 miles. The flight takes less time than boarding. Humans share about 50% of their DNA with bananas. We're more similar to fruit than you might expect, at least genetically. Life on Earth shares common ancestry that shows up in our molecular blueprints. The inventor of the microwave oven received only $2 for his invention. Percy Spencer discovered microwave cooking by accident when a chocolate bar melted in his pocket near a magnetron. His accidental discovery revolutionized cooking. A tiger's roar can paralyze its prey with fear. The infrasonic frequencies in the roar can actually cause temporary immobility in animals, including humans. It's a biological weapon that evolution refined over millions of years. The Hawaiian alphabet only has 13 letters. All Hawaiian words are constructed from 5 vowels and 8 consonants, creating a language of beautiful simplicity. Complex ideas expressed through minimal phonemes. You're taller in the morning than at night. Throughout the day, gravity compresses the cartilage in your spine, making you up to 3/4 of an inch shorter by bedtime. Sleep allows your spine to decompress and restore your full height. The scientific name for brain freeze is sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia. This impressive term describes the brief headache caused by consuming cold foods too quickly. A mouthful of a word for a mouthful of ice cream pain. A sneeze travels about 100 miles per hour, while a cough travels about 60 miles per hour. Both are powerful respiratory explosions designed to expel irritants. Your body has built-in high-speed ejection systems. The average person will eat about 70 insects and 10 spiders while sleeping in their lifetime. This widely cited statistic is actually a myth created to demonstrate how easily false information spreads online. You can rest easier knowing this one isn't true. A day on Jupiter lasts only about 10 hours. Despite being the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter rotates incredibly fast, creating a day shorter than half of Earth's. It's a massive spinning top in space. The world's largest living organism is a fungus in Oregon that covers about 2,400 acres. The Armillaria ostii, or honey fungus, is estimated to be between 2,000 and 8,500 years old. A single organism larger than 1,600 football fields. Your blood makes up about 8% of your total body weight. For an average person, that's about 1.3 gallons of blood circulating through approximately 60,000 miles of blood vessels. You're carrying an extensive internal highway system. Butterflies can see colors that humans can't, including ultraviolet light. Many flowers have evolved ultraviolet patterns visible only to pollinators, creating secret designs we can't perceive. Butterflies see a more colorful world than we do. The average person will spend 25 years sleeping. That's about 1/3 of your life spent unconscious. Sleep isn't wasted time but essential maintenance that keeps you alive and functional. A sneeze is an involuntary action that can't be stopped once it starts. The sneeze reflex is controlled by the sneeze center in your brainstem, which triggers a complex series of muscle contractions. Your brain takes over and forces the issue. Sharks have been around for over 400 million years. They survived 5 major extinction events, including the one that killed the dinosaurs. These ancient predators have proven nearly indestructible. The average person blinks about 15 to 20 times per minute. That's about 1,200 times per hour and about 28,800 times per day. Most of these blinks happen without conscious awareness. Antarctica is technically a desert because it receives very little precipitation. Despite being covered in ice, the interior of Antarctica is one of the driest places on Earth. Deserts are defined by lack of moisture, not temperature. The first computer programmer was a woman. Ada Lovelace wrote the first algorithm intended for machine processing in 1843, a century before modern computers existed. She envisioned computing potential that wouldn't be realized for generations. Your ears never stop growing throughout your lifetime. Cartilage continues to develop as you age, which is why elderly people often have noticeably larger ears. It's one of the few body parts that defies the general pattern of aging. A pig's orgasm lasts 30 minutes. This remarkable fact makes pigs among the most fortunate animals in the duration of pleasure department. Evolution has been generous to swine in this particular way. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. This common myth persists despite astronauts confirming you can't see it without magnification. Many highways and cities are more visible than this ancient structure. Your brain uses about 20 watts of power, roughly the same as a dim light bulb. All your thoughts, memories, and consciousness run on less electricity than it takes to illuminate a closet. Efficiency at its finest. The world's oldest known recipe is for beer. Sumerians recorded beer brewing instructions on clay tablets around 5000 BCE. Humanity has been perfecting fermentation for at least 7,000 years. A single raindrop falls at approximately 20 miles per hour. The terminal velocity of raindrops is limited by air resistance, keeping them from hitting us like tiny bullets. Physics protects us from deadly precipitation. Cows can have regional accents in their moos. Farmers have noticed that cattle herds develop different vocal patterns based on their location. Even animals develop linguistic variations based on their communities. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. This fact comes from the days when soap was made from animal fats. You're walking around with a small soap factory worth of material. A bolt of lightning is only about 1 inch wide, but can travel several miles long. These electrical discharges can reach temperatures 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun in that narrow channel. Concentrated power beyond comprehension. The average person walks about 75,000 miles in their lifetime. That's roughly equivalent to walking around the Earth 3 times. Every step is part of a much longer journey. Honey is made from regurgitated flower nectar. Bees collect nectar, partially digest it, then regurgitate it into honeycomb cells where it's dehydrated by wing fanning. We're eating bee vomit and loving it. Your brain generates about 12 to 25 watts of electricity. This is enough power to light a low-wattage LED bulb. You're a walking, thinking generator of bioelectricity. Penguins propose to their mates with a pebble. Male penguins search for the perfect pebble to present to the female they want to mate with. If she accepts it, they become partners. Even in the frozen Antarctic, romance requires the perfect gift. The human heart creates enough pressure to squirt blood 30 feet. If your aorta were cut, blood would fountain like a geyser. Fortunately, your circulatory system contains this impressive force. A sneeze can exceed 100 miles per hour. The explosive force needed to expel irritants from your nasal passages approaches highway speeds. Your body can generate remarkable velocities. The shortest war in recorded history was between Britain and Zanzibar on August 27, 1896. Zanzibar surrendered after 38 to 45 minutes of bombardment. Sometimes conflicts resolve very quickly when the power imbalance produces about 25,000 quarts of saliva in a lifetime. That's enough to fill 2 swimming pools. Your mouth is constantly generating this crucial digestive fluid. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, 1 pumps it to the body, and their blood uses copper instead of iron for oxygen transport. They're alien-like creatures living in our oceans. Every human spent about half an hour as a single cell after conception. That microscopic beginning divided and multiplied into the trillions of cells that make up your body today. From 1 cell to a person in 9 months. The word set has the most definitions of any word in the English language. The Oxford English Dictionary lists over 400 different meanings for this three-letter word. Its linguistic versatility at its peak. Your nose can remember 50,000 different scents. Olfactory memory is remarkably powerful and closely linked to emotional recall. A single smell can transport you instantly to childhood memories. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all Earth's beaches. Estimates suggest 70 billion trillion stars exist in the observable universe. Cosmic abundance that overwhelms terrestrial comparisons. A day on Venus lasts longer than its year. Venus takes 243 Earth days to rotate once, but only 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun. Time flows strangely on our neighboring planet. The unicorn is Scotland's national animal. This mythical creature represents purity and power in Scottish heraldry. A nation chose imagination over reality for its symbol. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. These Australian marsupials produce geometric feces that don't roll away, perfect for marking territory. Nature creates unexpected geometry. Honey never spoils if stored properly. Archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs thousands of years old. Bees make food that transcends time. The shortest complete sentence in English is I am. Two words forming subject and predicate, philosophically profound in its simplicity, existence declared in minimal terms. A cloud can weigh over 1 million pounds. Despite appearing light and fluffy, clouds contain massive amounts of water suspended in air. Physics makes the impossible routine. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't. Botanical definitions create counterintuitive classifications. Science reclassifies what common language assumes. There are more possible chess games than atoms in the universe. The Shannon number estimates 10 to the 120th power possible games. A board game contains more permutations than physical reality. Sharks existed before trees. These ocean predators predate forests by about 90 million years. Some life forms are far more ancient than we assume. Your body replaces itself every 7 to 10 years at the cellular level. You're constantly being rebuilt from the inside out. The you of today is physically different from the you of a decade ago. A single teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh 6 billion tons on Earth. These collapsed stellar remnants are so dense that physics becomes extreme. Matter compressed beyond normal experience. The sentence, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," uses every letter in the alphabet. This pangram efficiently demonstrates all 26 letters in simple imagery. Comprehensive communication in 9 words. Lightning strikes Earth about 100 times every second. That's about 8.6 million strikes per day. Our planet is constantly being hit by electrical discharges. The average person spends 6 months waiting at red lights over their lifetime. Traffic control consumes significant time in accumulated increments. Patience practiced in stoplight intervals. Crocodiles can't stick their tongues out. A membrane attaches their tongues to the bottom of their mouths. Ancient reptiles with surprising limitations. The @ symbol has different names in different languages. It's called a snail in Italian, a monkey's tail in Dutch, and a little dog in Russian. Global communication through varied imagery. Your nose can detect over 1 trillion different smells. Recent research dramatically increased estimates of olfactory capability. Your sense of smell is far more sophisticated than previously believed. The fingerprints of koalas are virtually indistinguishable from human fingerprints, even under microscopic examination. These Australian marsupials evolved similar ridge patterns independently, despite being completely unrelated to primates. Evolution sometimes arrives at identical solutions from entirely different starting points. Your stomach produces a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks to protect itself from its own acid. Without this protective barrier, your stomach would digest itself. It's a constant battle between destructive acid and protective slime. The original London Bridge is now in Arizona. When the bridge was sold in 1968, it was disassembled brick by brick, shipped across the Atlantic, and reconstructed in Lake Havasu City. A piece of British history now spans an artificial lake in the American desert. There's a species of jellyfish that is biologically immortal. Turritopsis doanea can revert to its juvenile polyp stage after reaching maturity, essentially resetting its biological clock. Barring disease or predation, these jellyfish could theoretically live forever. The human body contains enough carbon to fill 9,000 pencils, enough iron to make a 3-inch nail, enough fat to make 7 bars of soap, and enough phosphorus to make 2,200 match heads. You're a walking chemistry set. A group of pugs is called a grumble. This perfectly captures the snorting, wheezing sounds these dogs make. Language sometimes demonstrates a perfect sense of humor. The plastic tips on shoelaces are called aglets. Their primary purpose is to prevent laces from fraying and to make threading through eyelets easier. They're unsung heroes of functional footwear design. Polar bears are not actually white. Their fur is transparent and hollow, appearing white because it reflects visible light. Beneath the fur, their skin is actually black to better absorb heat from the sun. The strongest muscle in the human body relative to its size is the masseter, or jaw muscle. It can exert a force of up to 200 pounds on your molars. You're capable of generating remarkable crushing force with your mouth. A shrimp's heart is located in its head. Along with its brain and most vital organs, the heart sits in the cephalothorax. When you eat shrimp, you're consuming creatures whose neural and cardiac functions happen in the same anatomical neighborhood. The world's longest hiccuping fit lasted 68 years. Charles Osborne hiccuped continuously from 1922 to 1990, an estimated 430 million times. Despite this constant affliction, he lived a relatively normal life. Rabbits can't vomit. Their digestive system is a one-way street with a particularly strong muscular structure at the top of the stomach. This physiological quirk makes rabbits particularly vulnerable to toxic ingestion. The Eiffel Tower can grow by more than 6 inches during summer. Metal expands when heated, and the iron structure of the tower expands with rising temperatures. Paris's iconic landmark breathes with the seasons. A group of hedgehogs is called a prickle. The naming makes perfect sense given their spiny exterior. Sometimes language is delightfully obvious in its choices. Your brain is about 75% water. This high water content is why dehydration so quickly impairs cognitive function. You're essentially thinking with organized fluid. There are more than 1,500 volcanic eruptions per year on Earth. Most occur underwater or in remote locations, unnoticed by human civilization. Our planet is constantly reshaping itself through volcanic activity. The probability of you existing at all is about 1 in 400 trillion. Every one of your ancestors had to survive to reproductive age and successfully reproduce in an unbroken chain stretching back billions of years. Your existence is a statistical miracle. Honey bees can recognize human faces. Studies show they can distinguish between different photographic portraits, learning and remembering facial features. Insects with brains smaller than sesame seeds can do what many security systems attempt. A pencil can draw a line about 35 miles long or write approximately 45,000 words. The average pencil contains enough graphite for extensive writing before requiring sharpening down to unusability. The world's largest snowflake on record was 15 inches in diameter. It fell in Montana in 1887, roughly the size of a dinner plate. Snow crystals can grow to enormous sizes under the right atmospheric conditions. Your liver can regenerate itself completely from as little as 25% remaining. It's the only internal organ with this remarkable regenerative capability. You could donate part of your liver and it would grow back to full size. Sloths only defecate once a week. They descend from their trees to do so, losing up to 30% of their body weight in the process. It's a dangerous journey they make for reasons scientists still don't fully understand. The total weight of all ants on Earth roughly equals the total weight of all humans. These tiny insects collectively match our biomass despite individual ants weighing less than a milligram. Numbers create equivalence at scale. Your eyes are always the same size from birth, but your nose and ears never stop growing. This is why babies appear to have disproportionately large eyes, and elderly people have noticeably larger ears and noses. The Hawaiian alphabet has only 13 letters. All words in Hawaiian are composed of 5 vowels and 8 consonants, creating a language of elegant simplicity. Complex ideas expressed through minimal phonetic elements. A day on Mars lasts 24 hours and 37 minutes. Of all the planets in our solar system, Mars has a day length most similar to Earth's. Time passes almost identically on the red planet. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real flamingos. The pink plastic lawn ornaments outnumber their living inspirations. Humanity has created more artificial versions than nature maintains real ones. Your blood makes up about 8% of your body weight. For an average person, that's roughly 1.3 gallons circulating through about 60,000 miles of blood vessels. You contain an extensive internal highway system. The average person produces enough saliva in their lifetime to fill 2 swimming pools. Your salivary glands work constantly, generating this essential digestive fluid that also protects your teeth and enables speech. A sneeze can spray droplets up to 30 feet. This is why covering your mouth is so crucial for preventing disease transmission. You create a biological aerosol cloud when you sneeze. The world's quietest room is so silent that you can hear your own heartbeat, stomach gurgling, and blood flowing through your ears. Most people can only tolerate Microsoft's anechoic chamber for about 45 minutes before the sensory deprivation becomes overwhelming. Octopuses have been observed using coconut shells as portable shelters. They carry these shells across the ocean floor and assemble them into protective enclosures. Tool use by invertebrates challenges our assumptions about intelligence. The cigarette lighter was invented before the match. Lighters appeared in 1823, while friction matches weren't invented until 1826. Sometimes the more complex technology precedes the simpler one. A single strand of human hair can support about 3.5 ounces of weight. A full head of hair could theoretically support around 12 tons, roughly the weight of 2 adult elephants. Your hair is remarkably strong. The world's oldest known living tree is over 5,000 years old. A bristlecone pine called Methuselah in California has been growing since before the pyramids were built. It's witnessed all of recorded human history. Cows have best friends and experience stress when separated. Studies show cattle form strong social bonds with specific individuals in their herd. They have emotional lives that include friendship and attachment. The moon is moving away from Earth at a rate of about 1.5 inches per year. Eventually, it will appear much smaller in our sky and total solar eclipses will become impossible. Cosmic relationships change over time. A group of ferrets is called a business. Watch ferrets interact, and this name makes perfect sense as they scurry about with apparent purpose. Collective nouns often demonstrate clever observation. The average person blinks about 17 times per minute. That's about 15,000 blinks per day, spreading tears across your eyes and cleaning them constantly. Most blinking happens unconsciously. Your fingernails grow about 4 times faster than your toenails. The difference relates to blood circulation, with hands receiving better blood flow than feet. Growth rates vary across your body. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping to avoid drifting apart. They form rafts of up to 100 individuals, linking paws to maintain social cohesion. They've turned floating into a group bonding activity. The average person laughs about 15 times per day. Each laugh triggers beneficial neurochemicals that reduce stress and improve mood. Evolution built joy into our operating system. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. Everything about these creatures exists on a scale that challenges comprehension. They're living proof that nature can build on the grandest scale imaginable. The word lethologica describes the state of being unable to remember a specific word. There's a word for forgetting words, creating an ironic metacognitive loop. Language reflects on its own limitations. You can't hum while holding your nose closed. Humming requires airflow through your nasal passages, making it impossible when your nose is blocked. Try it and experience the interconnected nature of your respiratory system. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn. A mythical creature represents a very real nation. Scotland chose imagination and symbolism over biological accuracy. Apples float in water because they're 25% air. This buoyancy is why bobbing for apples works as a game. Cellular structure determines density. Antarctica is the world's largest desert. Despite being covered in ice, it receives less precipitation than the Sahara. Deserts are defined by dryness, not heat. The plural of octopus can be octopuses, octopi, or octopods, though linguists prefer octopuses since the word derives from Greek rather than Latin. Language evolution creates multiple acceptable forms. Your heart creates enough pressure when pumping to squirt blood 30 feet across a room. Your circulatory system contains this impressive force within a network of vessels. Internal hydraulics operating at high pressure. The inventor of the frisbee was cremated and had his ashes made into frisbees. Walter Frederick Morrison became his own invention, achieving a unique form of immortality through transformation into the product he created. Horses and cows sleep standing up but can only dream while lying down. REM sleep requires muscle relaxation incompatible with standing. Different sleep positions provide different qualities of rest. The electric chair was invented by a dentist who witnessed an accidental electrocution and thought it might be more humane than hanging. Good intentions don't always lead to good outcomes. Medical knowledge took a dark turn. About 3% of Antarctic ice is penguin urine. Generations of penguins have left their mark on the frozen continent. Even ice has a biological component in some regions. A small percentage of static on older televisions is radiation from the Big Bang. You can observe cosmic microwave background radiation on your screen. Creations echo visible in 20th century technology. The shortest complete sentence in English is go, or I am. Both form complete thoughts with subject and verb, minimal language expressing complete ideas. Dolphins sleep with one half of their brain at a time. This allows them to maintain awareness for breathing and predator detection while resting. They're simultaneously asleep and awake. The average person falls asleep in 7 minutes. Of course, individual variation is enormous, with some people dropping off in seconds while others take hours. Sleep onset varies dramatically between people. An average yawn lasts about 6 seconds and brings in about 15% more oxygen than normal breathing. Scientists still debate whether yawning cools the brain, increases alertness, or serves some other purpose. Even common behaviors remain mysterious. Every human spent approximately half an hour as a single cell. From that microscopic beginning, Cell division created the trillions of specialized cells that constitute your body. Complexity from simplicity through multiplication. The chances of shuffling a deck of cards into perfect sequential order are astronomically small. You could shuffle for billions of years and never achieve perfect order. Randomness vastly exceeds organization in probability. Elephants are the only mammals that can't jump. Their massive weight and bone structure make it physically impossible to get all 4 feet off the ground simultaneously. Some capabilities come with size limitations. Twitter's bird mascot is named Larry, after basketball player Larry Bird. Even major corporations have whimsical naming choices. Corporate culture includes playfulness. The longest wedding veil measured over 22,000 feet, longer than 63 football fields. Someone decided love required an extraordinary amount of fabric to properly celebrate. Excess as expression of devotion. More people are killed annually by vending machines than by sharks. Our fears often misalign with actual statistical dangers. The mundane can be more dangerous than the dramatic. The human body emits a small amount of visible light, about 1,000 times less intense than our eyes can detect. We're all faintly bioluminescent. You glow in the dark, just not brightly enough to notice. Beaver teeth never stop growing, averaging about 4 feet per year of growth, constantly worn down by gnawing. Self-sharpening orange chisels that define the beaver's ecological role. Continuous growth requires continuous use. A bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. We can't effectively harvest this energy yet, but the power involved is immense. Nature generates tremendous force in microseconds. The probability of the specific arrangement of atoms that makes you is so vanishingly small that, if written out, the zeros would fill the observable universe. Yet here you are, existing despite impossible odds. Improbability made flesh. Banging your head against a wall burns about 150 calories per hour. Not a recommended exercise method, but it demonstrates how much energy physical activity consumes. Even painful effort burns calories. The moon is moving away from Earth. Eventually, total solar eclipses will become impossible as the moon appears too small to cover the sun completely. Cosmic geometry changes over geological time. A group of ravens is called an unkindness or conspiracy. These highly intelligent birds get collective nouns suggesting malevolence and plotting. Medieval poetry shaped modern terminology. Koala fingerprints are virtually identical to human fingerprints. Despite being marsupials completely unrelated to primates, koalas evolved nearly identical ridge patterns. Convergent evolution creating matching solutions. The smell of freshly cut grass is actually a plant distress signal. Green leaf volatiles are defensive compounds released when grass is damaged. We find the scent pleasant while the grass is screaming for help. There's a basketball court on the Supreme Court building's top floor, nicknamed the highest court in the land. Even serious institutions need recreational spaces, wordplay embedded in architecture. The average person spends 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. Traffic control consumes significant cumulative time. Patience practiced in stoplight increments across decades. A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out due to a membrane that holds it to the bottom of the mouth. Ancient reptiles with unexpected limitations. Not all capabilities scale with predatory efficiency. The @ symbol is called an arroba in Spanish, a chiocciola in Italian, and an apostart in Dutch. Different cultures see different things in the same symbol. Interpretation varies across linguistic contexts. Your nose can remember 50,000 different scents. Olfactory memory is powerful and closely linked to emotional recall. Smell is a direct route to memory and emotion. The plastic tips on shoelaces are called aglets. These small components serve crucial functions in preventing fraying and enabling threading. Functional design elements earn specific names. A sneeze travels up to 100 miles per hour. The explosive force needed to expel nasal irritants generates highway-level velocities. Your body creates remarkable speeds. The shortest war lasted 38 to 45 minutes. Britain versus Zanzibar in 1896 ended almost as quickly as it began. Sometimes overwhelming force makes conflict brief. You share your birthday with approximately 20 million other people. With nearly 8 billion humans and 365 days per year, birth dates are shared by enormous populations. Your special day belongs to millions. The average person produces 25,000 quarts of saliva in a lifetime. That's enough to fill 2 swimming pools. Your mouth constantly generates this essential fluid. Octopuses have 3 hearts and blue copper-based blood. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills while one serves the body. They're alien-like creatures in Earth's oceans. Every human spent about half an hour as a single cell after fertilization. That microscopic beginning divided into the trillions of cells composing you now, from one to many in 9 months. The word set has more definitions than any other English word. Over 400 meanings exist for these 3 letters. Linguistic versatility at its peak. Your nose can distinguish about 1 trillion different smells. Recent research dramatically increased estimates of olfactory capability. Your sense of smell is far more sophisticated than previously known. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all Earth's beaches. 70 billion trillion stars versus uncountable sand grains. Cosmic abundance exceeds terrestrial accumulation. A day on Venus exceeds its year. 243 Earth days for one rotation versus 225 for one orbit. Time operates strangely on our neighboring planet. The unicorn is Scotland's national animal. Myth represents reality in national symbolism. Imagination chosen over biological fact. Wombat feces are cube-shaped. These marsupials produce geometric droppings that don't roll away. Nature creates unexpected geometry for practical purposes. Honey never spoils when properly stored. Ancient honey found in Egyptian tombs remains edible after millennia. Bees create food that transcends time. The shortest complete sentence contains 2 words. I am or go both form complete thoughts. Minimal language expressing maximum meaning. A cloud can weigh over 1 million pounds. Despite appearing light, clouds contain massive water amounts suspended in air. Physics makes impossible appearances routine. Bananas are berries while strawberries aren't. Botanical definitions contradict common usage. Science reclassifies familiar categories. There are more possible chess games than atoms in the observable universe. The Shannon number vastly exceeds physical reality. A board game contains more permutations than the cosmos. Sharks existed before trees by about 90 million years. Ocean predators predate forests. Some life forms are far more ancient than assumptions suggest. Your body replaces all its cells every 7 to 10 years. You're constantly rebuilt from within. The you of today differs physically from the you of a decade ago. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh 6 billion tons. Collapsed stellar remnants compress matter beyond normal experience. Physics becomes extreme at stellar density. The quick brown fox sentence uses every alphabet letter. This pangram efficiently demonstrates all 26 letters. Comprehensive communication in minimal words. Lightning strikes Earth about 100 times every second. That's 8.6 million daily strikes. Our planet constantly receives electrical discharges. The average person spends 6 months waiting at red lights over a lifetime. Traffic control consumes significant accumulated time. Patience practiced in stoplight intervals. Crocodiles can't stick their tongues out. Membrane attachment limits mobility. Ancient reptiles with surprising constraints. The @ symbol has different names globally. Cultural interpretation varies for identical symbols. Language reflects local associations and perceptions. The sound of a whip cracking is actually a tiny sonic boom. The tip of the whip moves faster than the speed of sound, creating a miniature shockwave. You can break the sound barrier with a piece of leather. Butterflies taste with their feet. Chemoreceptors on their legs allow them to identify plants suitable for laying eggs. They simultaneously stand on and sample their environment. A single cloud can contain millions of pounds of water. Despite floating overhead, cumulus clouds are incredibly heavy. Physics suspends massive weight through distributed particles. The average person will walk about 75,000 miles in their lifetime. That's roughly equivalent to circling Earth 3 times. Every step contributes to an epic journey. Your body has enough iron to make a 3-inch nail. Most of this iron circulates in your blood, transporting oxygen. You're partially constructed from the same material as tools. A jiffy is an actual unit of time equal to 1/100th of a second. What began as slang became precise scientific measurement. Colloquial expressions sometimes gain technical definitions. The world's oldest known living tree has been growing for over 5,000 years. Methuselah, a bristlecone pine, predates written history. A single organism witnessing all of civilization's development. Almonds are members of the peach family. Crack open a peach pit and you'll find a kernel resembling an almond. Botanical relationships surprise common perception. Every 2 minutes we take more photographs than all of humanity did in the entire 19th century. Digital technology enables documentation at unprecedented scales. We're recording existence at exponential rates. The word nerd was first coined by Dr. Seuss in 1950. A fictional creature's name became slang for intellectual obsession. Children's literature accidentally shaped modern vocabulary. Your brain constantly engages in phagocytosis, literally eating itself. This healthy process recycles worn cellular components. Creative destruction maintains neural function. A single strand of spaghetti is technically called a spaghetto. Italian grammar rules apply to pasta terminology. Nobody uses the singular form despite its technical correctness. Mickey and Minnie Mouse's voice actors married in real life. Wayne Allwine and Russi Taylor wed in 1991, staying together until his death. Fictional romance mirrored in reality. Dolphins use unique whistles as names for each other. They have language, identity, and social recognition. Marine mammals possess sophisticated communication systems. The smell of freshly cut grass is a distress signal. Green leaf volatiles warn neighboring plants of damage. What humans find pleasant is vegetation screaming for help. There's a basketball court atop the Supreme Court building. It's nicknamed the highest court in the land, a deliberate double meaning. Institutional playfulness embedded in architecture. The average person spends 6 months waiting for red lights over a lifetime. Traffic control accumulates to significant duration. Patience practiced in countless stoplight intervals. Crocodiles cannot stick out their tongues. A membrane holds the tongue to the mouth's floor. Apex predators have unexpected anatomical limitations. The @ symbol has dozens of names worldwide. Each language interprets this character differently. Global communication uses locally understood imagery. Your nose can remember 50,000 different scents. Olfactory memory powerfully links to emotional recall. Smell provides direct access to stored experiences. The plastic tips on shoelaces are called aglets. These small components prevent fraying and enable threading. Functional elements earn specific terminology. A sneeze travels up to 100 miles per hour. Respiratory explosions generate impressive velocities. Your body creates highway-speed expulsions. The shortest war lasted under an hour. Britain versus Zanzibar in 1896 ended in defeat after mere minutes. Overwhelming force makes conflict brief. You share your birthday with 20 million people. Nearly 8 billion humans divided across 365 days creates massive date sharing. Special days belong to millions simultaneously. The average person produces 25,000 quarts of saliva lifetime, 2 swimming pools worth of digestive fluid. Your mouth constantly generates this essential substance. Octopuses possess 3 hearts and blue blood. 2 hearts serve the gills, 1 serves the body. Marine invertebrates operating on alien principles. Every human spent half an hour as a single cell. Fertilization created a microscopic beginning, from 1 cell to trillions through division. The word set has 400 different meanings, 3 letters supporting immense semantic range. Linguistic versatility concentrated in minimal space. Your nose distinguishes about 1 trillion different smells. Recent research vastly increased olfactory capability estimates. Smell is far more sophisticated than previously believed. More stars exist than sand grains on all beaches. 70 billion trillion stars versus terrestrial granules. Cosmic abundance exceeds earthly accumulation. A Venusian day exceeds its year. 243 Earth days for rotation versus 225 for orbit. Neighboring planets operate under different temporal rules. Scotland's national animal is mythical. The unicorn represents an actual nation. Imagination selected over biological reality. Wombat feces are geometrically cubic. Marsupials produce shaped droppings preventing rolling. Nature creates practical geometry. Properly stored honey never spoils. Ancient samples remain edible after millennia. Bees manufacture eternal food. The shortest sentence contains 2 words. I am or go express complete thoughts. Minimal language conveying maximum meaning. Clouds can weigh over 1 million pounds. Apparent lightness conceals massive water content. Physics makes the impossible routine. Bananas are berries, strawberries aren't. Botanical definitions contradict common classification. Science reorganizes familiar categories. More chess games exist than universe atoms. The Shannon number exceeds physical reality. Board games contain more permutations than cosmos. Sharks predate trees by 90 million years. Ocean predators emerged before forests. Ancient life forms exceed assumptions. Your body replaces all cells every decade. Constant rebuilding from within. Physical you differs from past versions. Neutron star material weighs billions of tons per teaspoon. Stellar collapse creates extreme density. Physics becomes incomprehensible at collapsed cores. The pangram sentence uses all alphabet letters. Efficient demonstration of complete character set. Comprehensive communication in minimal words. Lightning strikes Earth 100 times per second. 8.6 million daily electrical discharges. Planetary electrical activity operates continuously. 6 months of life spent at red lights. Cumulative traffic control duration adds up. Patience practice through countless stops. The @ symbol receives different names globally. Cultural interpretation shapes symbol understanding. Local associations determine terminology. Koala fingerprints match human prints microscopically. Marsupials evolved identical ridge patterns independently. Convergent evolution creates matching solutions. Grass scent is vegetation distress signaling. Green leaf volatiles warn of damage. Pleasant smells mask plant emergency broadcasts. Supreme Court building includes basketball court. Wordplay embedded in institutional architecture. Highest court carries double meaning. Red light waiting accumulates to months. Traffic signals consume significant lifetime. Small delays compound across years. Membrane prevents crocodile tongue extension. Ancient reptiles face unexpected constraints. Not all capabilities align with predator status. Symbol names vary across languages. Different cultures see different things. Global characters receive local interpretations. Olfactory memory holds 50,000 scents. Smell strongly connects to emotional recall. Scent provides memory access routes. Aglets prevent lace fraying and enable threading. Small functional components earn names. Design elements receive specific terminology. Sneezes reach 100 miles per hour. Respiratory force generates highway speeds. Bodies create impressive velocities. Shortest war lasted mere minutes. Overwhelming force ended conflict quickly. Britain versus Zanzibar resolved in under an hour. 20 million people share each birthday. Population divided across calendar year. Special dates belong to massive groups. Lifetime saliva production fills 2 pools, 25,000 quarts over decades. Mouths constantly generate digestive fluid. 3 hearts and blue blood define octopuses. Twin gill hearts plus body heart. Copper-based blood instead of iron. Everyone began as single cell. Half-hour microscopic stage after fertilization. Trillions of cells from one division. Set supports 400 meanings. Maximal semantic range in 3 letters. Concentrated linguistic versatility. Trillion different smells distinguishable. Vastly increased olfactory estimates. Sophisticated smell capability. Stars outnumber beach sand grains. 70 billion trillion cosmic bodies. Universal abundance exceeds terrestrial. Venus day longer than Venus year. Rotation exceeds orbital period. Temporal paradox on neighboring planet. Mythical creature represents Scotland. Unicorn chosen as national symbol. Imagination over biological reality. Cubic wombat droppings prevent rolling. Geometric feces serve territorial purposes. Practical shapes from nature. Honey's eternal shelf life. Ancient samples remain edible. Timeless food production. 2-word complete sentences. Minimal expression of full thoughts. I am or go suffice. Million-pound clouds float overhead. Massive water suspended in air. Impossible made routine through physics. Berry classification contradicts common usage. Bananas qualify, strawberries don't. Scientific reorganization of familiar categories. Chess games exceed universe atoms. Board game permutations surpass physical reality. Game complexity exceeds cosmos. Sharks older than trees. Ocean predators predate forests by millions of years. Ancient life preceding assumptions. Cellular replacement every decade. Bodies rebuild continuously. Physical transformation across time. Extreme neutron star density. Teaspoons weighing billions of tons. Collapse stellar physics beyond comprehension. All letters in one sentence. Pangram efficiency and comprehensiveness. Quick brown fox demonstration. Continuous lightning strikes. 100 per second globally. Constant planetary electrical activity. Months waiting at traffic lights. Cumulative signal delays. Lifetime patience accumulation. Symbol terminology varies globally. Cultural interpretation differences. Local naming of universal characters. And now, as your breathing slows further and muscles release their final tensions, as thoughts become dreamlike and logic loosens its grip, as the boundary between waking and sleeping blurs into indistinct twilight, let these final facts drift through your consciousness like leaves on a gentle stream. Your brain continues its miraculous work even as awareness fades, sorting and storing, pruning and connecting, maintaining the vast neural network that makes you who you are. The world outside continues its ancient patterns while you rest, while tides rise and fall under lunar influence, while continents creep millimeters per year across the mantle, while stars are born in nebulae millions of light years away, and others collapse into the strange geometries of spacetime that we call black holes. While closer to home, the seasons turn, and weather systems swirl across the globe, and migrations carry countless creatures across land and sea and sky. While in the soil beneath our feet, entire ecosystems of bacteria and fungi and tiny invertebrates process dead matter into nutrients for new growth. While in the oceans, bioluminescent fish flash messages in the eternal darkness of the deep. While on mountaintops, glaciers melt and reform, according to patterns that stretch across millennia. While in laboratories, scientists peer deeper into the fabric of reality, seeking the fundamental rules that govern existence. While artists create beauty from raw materials and musicians arrange vibrations in air to move the human heart. While poets wrestle language into new configurations that capture fleeting truths. While children laugh and play and learn. While the elderly reflect on lives lived and wisdom earned. While all of humanity goes about its complex business of loving and working and dreaming and struggling and celebrating and mourning and hoping. And through it all you rest peacefully, secure in the knowledge that tomorrow will bring new wonders, new questions, new facts both strange and true, new opportunities to marvel at the magnificent complexity of this reality we inhabit for our brief moment of consciousness before returning our borrowed atoms to the universal pool from which new forms will eventually emerge. Sleep deeply now, dream whatever dreams may come. Rest in the certainty that the universe holds you safely in its vast embrace. That the same physical laws that govern galaxies also protect the delicate electrochemical processes maintaining your life. That you are simultaneously insignificant on cosmic scales and infinitely precious as a unique expression of matter achieving self-awareness. That your existence matters even though you're one consciousness among billions, on one planet among trillions, in one galaxy among trillions, in a universe so vast that light from its farthest reaches hasn't had time to arrive here, yet even though it's been traveling for nearly 14 billion years. Rest in paradox and wonder, in the comfortable confusion of being finite and mortal, yet connected to something eternal and infinite. Rest knowing that questions outnumber answers, and that's perfectly fine. That mystery is not the enemy of knowledge but its deepest truth. That the more we learn, the more we discover how much remains unknown. That every answer spawns new questions in an endless, beautiful recursion of curiosity and discovery. Rest now in the deep dark behind your eyes, where dreams are born from the day's memories mixed with ancient patterns. Where your sleeping mind solves problems and processes emotions, and rehearses futures and remembers pasts both real and imagined. Where the boundaries between self and other, between past and future, between possible and impossible, all dissolve into the fertile chaos from which creativity springs. The night will pass as all nights do, and morning will come with its own gifts of light and warmth and waking consciousness. But for now, for these precious hours of darkness and rest, let go of everything that requires effort or attention or concern. Release all the tensions and worries and plans and regrets. Surrender to the natural rhythm of breathing and heartbeat, to the ancient biological wisdom that knows how to maintain life while consciousness rests, to the body's patient work of healing and growing and renewing itself cell by cell, molecule by molecule, atom by atom, in the continuous miracle of self-maintenance that happens every moment without requiring your awareness or permission or control. Trust the process, trust the night, trust the darkness that allows dreams to flourish, trust your mind to sort what needs keeping from what can be released. Trust your body to do what bodies have been doing for millions of years of evolution. Trust that morning will come, and you will wake refreshed and renewed, ready to encounter whatever facts and fictions, truths and mysteries, challenges and opportunities the new day brings. Ready to continue the grand adventure of being alive and conscious in a universe that somehow produced atoms capable of contemplating their own existence, ready to add your unique voice and vision and choices to the great ongoing story of humanity and life and mind and meaning. But for now, right now, in this quiet moment suspended between day and night, between waking and dreaming, between the known and the unknown, simply rest, simply breathe, simply be. Simply allow the gentle current of sleep to carry you away into the mysterious country of dreams, where logic and reality take holiday and everything becomes possible. Where you might fly or breathe underwater or meet people long gone or visit places that never existed except in imagination, where time bends and stretches and loops back on itself, where you are simultaneously yourself and everyone you've ever known, where profound truths hide in ridiculous scenarios and meaningless chaos sometimes feels deeply significant, where your sleeping brain plays with concepts and memories like a child with blocks, building and destroying and rebuilding in endless variation, teaching itself, healing itself, preparing itself for the challenges and opportunities that tomorrow will bring, and through it all, through all the strange theater of dreams and the deeper dreamless sleep beneath them, through all the mysterious processes of neural maintenance and synaptic pruning and memory consolidation and cellular repair, through all the automatic regulatory systems, maintaining temperature and chemistry and electrical activity and structural integrity, through all of this magnificent biological complexity operating beneath the surface of awareness, you are safe, you are held, you are part of something larger than yourself, yet uniquely yourself. Irreplaceable and temporary, insignificant and infinitely valuable, a brief candle flame of consciousness in the vast darkness of space and time, burning brightly for your moment before returning to the darkness from which you came. But for now, for these precious years of being alive, for this miracle of existence against all odds, rest well. Dream deep, sleep sound, knowing that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, being exactly what billions of years of cosmic evolution have produced, a conscious witness to the universe's grand experiment in self-awareness, a participant in the eternal dance of matter and energy and information, a temporary pattern of organized complexity that nevertheless matters absolutely in the only time and place that truly exists, which is here and now, and this eternal present moment that keeps arriving, fresh and new with each passing second. And with that comforting knowledge, with that peaceful acceptance of your place in the grand scheme of things, let sleep claim you completely. Let consciousness fade like sunset into darkness. Let the gentle rhythm of breathing carry you deeper and deeper into rest and renewal and dreams, and the blessed temporary oblivion that allows tomorrow to arrive fresh and full of potential and promise and mystery and wonder, and all the beautiful, strange, true facts that make this universe such an endlessly fascinating place to exist for the brief and precious time we're given. And as the final threads of waking thought dissolve into the twilight realm between consciousness and sleep, remember that you are stardust arranged in patterns complex enough to wonder about stardust, that you are the universe experiencing itself, that every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago, that you are ancient and new simultaneously, that you carry the history of the cosmos in your very substance, that you are a temporary eddy in the great river of existence, a brief configuration that will eventually dissolve and reconfigure into new forms, new patterns, new possibilities, and that this temporary nature does not diminish, but rather enhances the preciousness and beauty of your existence, making each moment sacred precisely because it is fleeting, making each experience valuable precisely because it cannot last forever, making each connection meaningful precisely because separation is inevitable, and in this acceptance of impermanence, in this embrace of the temporary nature of all things, there is paradoxically a kind of peace, a kind of freedom, a kind of joy that comes from knowing that nothing lasts forever, and therefore everything matters absolutely in the only moment it exists, which is now, always now, eternally now. And so rest now in this eternal present moment that is simultaneously the culmination of all past moments and the seed of all future moments. Rest in the knowledge that you are part of something vast and beautiful and mysterious. Rest in the comfort of your own breath and heartbeat. Rest in the darkness that is not absence but presence, not emptiness but fullness, not death but the source of all life. And let that darkness cradle you gently as you descend through layers of consciousness into the deep restorative sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, that allows your body and mind to heal and restore and prepare for tomorrow's adventures. And know that you are loved by the universe that created you, held by forces beyond your understanding, supported by the same laws of physics that hold galaxies together and guide atoms in their dance. And with that knowledge, with that comfort, with that peace, let go completely and fall into sleep, into dreams, into rest, into the blessed darkness from which you will emerge renewed and refreshed when morning comes, and the cycle begins again, and life continues in all its strange and beautiful and wonderfully absurd glory. The mantis shrimp has the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom, with 16 color receptors compared to humans' 3. They can see ultraviolet, visible, and polarized light simultaneously. Their vision is so sophisticated that scientists are studying it to improve satellite imaging and cancer detection technologies. These small crustaceans perceive a visual world we cannot even imagine. The speed of light in a vacuum is exactly 299,792,458 meters per second, making it the universe's ultimate speed limit. Nothing with mass can reach this velocity, but light itself travels at this precise speed through empty space. Einstein built his theory of relativity around this cosmic constant. A single gram of DNA can theoretically store 215 petabytes of data, making it the most efficient information storage medium known. Your genetic code is written in a language more compact than any computer system. All of humanity's data could fit in a shipping container of DNA. The human brain generates about 70,000 thoughts per day, averaging about one thought every 1.2 seconds during waking hours. Most of these thoughts are repetitive, recycling the same patterns and concerns. Your mind is a constantly churning thought factory. Tardigrades can survive temperatures from near absolute zero to above boiling, withstand pressures 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trenches, and endure radiation levels that would kill most other organisms. These microscopic water bears can even survive in the vacuum of space. They're nature's ultimate survivors, virtually indestructible. The world's oceans contain approximately 20 million tons of gold dissolved in seawater. Unfortunately, it's so diluted that extracting it would cost more than the gold's value. The oceans hold unfathomable wealth we cannot economically access. And with these final strange truths settling into your drowsy mind, let sleep come completely. Good night. Sweet dreams await you in the darkness. Rest in wonder, sleep in peace, wake refreshed and ready for tomorrow's mysteries. Sleep well. The universe holds you safe tonight.